I wanted to take a minute and acknowledge that it's a weird time to be creating content, and a lot is going on. So there's a lot happening in the world with Black Lives Matter protests coming after the murder of George Floyd at the hands of police, and the systematic racism in the police in both the UK, America and across the world. Police are very racist, let's not ignore it. And I debated kind of cancelling all content because it felt odd to take up space at a time like this. And I know that's in some ways very arrogant and egotistical. Like, what space am I taking up? I'm a tiny, tiny person. But it felt odd, but it felt 10 times more performative to not produce content, because then when do you restart? When systematic racism is done? You're not going to do that. You're going to stop for a week, and then when everyone's forgotten about it again, you'll start back up again, and that felt disingenuous. When it comes to politics and this movement, I'm not the voice that is important. We donate where we can, we sign petitions where we can, we call out racism where we see it, and we uplift voices who are different to ours, and that's how I live out being anti-racist and anti-systematic racism in my life. And I urge you to do the same and do more, because I know I could do more. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with this. I don't want to stop producing content because it would feel more disingenuous than to continue doing so. And it's going to be really hard to transition from that into a daily vlog segment. So it is day 1. It is book 1 of this book a day in June reading challenge. My TBR is at 25 books, I think, as in my to be read books that are on my shelves that I've never read. I'm expecting a little bit of book mail, but not a huge amount, so it should be fine. And I also did a bit of prep work at the weekend because the Oxford student in me comes out and she's like, you must prepare for this. You know this is going to be hard. We need to do the pre-reading effectively. So I have, over the weekend, I read half of Christopher Paolini's Eldest and half of V. Schwab's Conjuring of Light, because they are both almost 700 pages, and I just could see myself up in the wee hours reading those, so I have started both of those. I don't know if I'm going to try and finish one of those today. I think I'm going to do a random number generator and then use that to pick which book I read today off my TBR. I have the day off, I forgot to mention that. I have a full day of catching up from whatever week it was, week before last, where I was just completely wiped out. Pick a number between 1 and 30. 7. Thank you Google, that was very kind of you. Nice, it's a NetGalley book, that's good, that's kind of how I planned it. This is Bone Shard Daughter by Andrea Stewart, so I'll be starting that today. I still need to charge my Kindle, so maybe I'll do that first, because it's given me the aggressive you have no battery sign, not just the normal maybe consider charging, but this is like the I hate you, please charge your battery. The other thing I want to do is wash my hair and film my wrap up, because very rarely do I get to film my wrap up on the first day of the month, so that'd be good. Basically, I will be back when I've finished a book. That's kind of my intention. I said I would be back when I finished a book, and here I am. It is 3 minutes past 5 in the afternoon. Let's just take a moment and appreciate these phenomenal teeth earrings from Misfit Makes. I'm obsessed with them. I finished my first book, book 1, day 1. How exciting. I finished Bone Shard Daughter by Andrea Stewart. I've forgotten her name, that's terrible. I just finished her book. Let's double check. Yes, Andrea Stewart. I loved this book. Like, if you want to whittle down like a Judith fantasy book, it's very reminiscent of basically every fantasy book I've enjoyed from the last 3 years. I adored it. It's bone magic is the magic system, but it's basically using bone shards that are taken from the people of this kingdom slash world, not necessarily at will, and using them to build constructs which are kind of like hybrid animal things that you build out of scrap parts and meld together. And you use these bone shards, you inscribe things on them, and they're basically like logic if statements, if you know what I mean. So like, obey this person unless this criteria, and then you rank them in hierarchy, and you learn more about it as the book goes on, and it's so profoundly cool as a magic system. I really enjoyed it. It was multiple POV, which I wasn't expecting. I think the description I was using really focused in on the Emperor's daughter angle, and Lynn is a really great character, don't get me wrong, but there's also Jovis, who's a smuggler. We've got Sand, who's like a whole other stuff going on there. I'm not going to pronounce her name right. Phalue, and another person, something, R-A, began with R-A. I'm going to check because you've deserved it. Ranami, there we go. Minami, and basically all of them are really cool characters. You have a revolution happening, there's stuff going on within the palace, there's small scale plot, there's larger scale plot. I really loved it, basically. I think I'm going to need to order a copy now so it can live in my home. Although, is there a copy at my office? I don't know. And I won't know for quite some time yet. Yes, a really, really great start to this month. I've also filmed my wrap up, that's edited. I haven't worked out when that's going to go up, but it's ready to go when it is. Let's pick what book we're reading next, shall we? Pick a number between 1 and 30.
16.
Oh, cool. Okay, so number 16 is actually Squire, but I'm gonna pick the first book in that series, which is First Test. This is a dinky, small, little one. This is only about 180 pages, so this will be a nice quick one to go through as well. And then we'll be back for more books, and whether I can just read this whole series all in one go or do random number generator for the rest of them, I'm not sure. Stay tuned to find out. I'd say happy Tuesday, but it's really not. Tuesday, still a really weird time to be making content. I have already finished my second book of the month. Pretty good. Finished it yesterday. It's only a short one. I did finish First Test by Tamora Pierce. It's just everything I like in a kind of way. It's like middle grade. She's 10 at the beginning of this. I think the series probably gets older. It's everything I like. It's girls being powerful without sacrificing femininity. It's standing up to bullies. It's so good. It's profoundly amazing. Yay. And I haven't decided if I'm gonna carry on reading this. I'm staring at them, that's why I'm not looking at you. Whether to carry on reading the series or random number generator it. I think I'm gonna avoid binge reading them because I think I want to spread them out across the month and put them in for maybe after I've had less good experiences with books, and we're gonna random number generate it. Oh, it's on silent, but it's 30. Right, what's 30? This is The House of Binding Thorns by Aliette Bedard. It is directly behind my camera, so I'm not gonna grab it now, but that's what I'll be reading today. Hello, for those of you keeping track of the passage of time in these weird times, it is Wednesday. It's day 3 of my book a day reading challenge, and I am 3 books in. I finished my 3rd book yesterday. I was pretty pleased. I put it away so I'm gonna grab it. I finished The House of Binding Thorns. I really enjoyed this so much more the second time around. This is a series that I think you definitely have to reread, and now having reread House of Shattered Wings last week and then this, I think you do have to read them in order and fairly tight together. So I'm going to try and put House of Sundering Flames onto my July TBR so that I can read that. No, this is so good. It builds on the stuff from the first book so well. It tackles addiction in an interesting way that the first book kind of did, but then it builds on that. It's got dragons, it's got magic. It's so good and just really creative. I will say, if you're put off by tiny font, and sometimes I find it very difficult to read tiny font because I'm very not good at seeing. The paperback font is just weirdly small. Maybe get it on Kindle. That's all I'll say. And then I have made a start on book 4, which the random number generator picked yesterday. Sorry, I didn't film it. I thought if it was just a week of me looking at Google, then you'd all get a bit upset with me. And that's We Are the Dead by Mike Shackle. So I've started that about 10% in, maybe 11%. So far it's okay. One moment of, admittedly in her 20s, young 20s, so not a child, girl getting felt up on her way into her job, but it didn't feel too bad. It wasn't kind of like, haha, yeah. But that's always kind of on my mind when it's a male author anyway. Non-reading update for the week, because we've not done many of those. My fabric arrived. It's this gorgeous cotton linen check, and I've pre-washed it. It's been ironed. I think it might need ironing again, which doesn't bode well for the dress because I don't love to iron. So maybe I'll have to invest in a steamer. But yeah, I'm going to get started on making my dress and actually doing it properly because this fabric was fairly expensive and it took a long time to arrive. So the sunk cost fallacy is really kicking in. Listening to a lot of Ship of Magic, which I did listen to a fair amount of yesterday. Let me tell you how much of it I listened to. Oh, the allergies are terrible at the moment. I know I'm offline. So I have 25 hours left and I think I had like 30 left at the beginning of yesterday, so we did pretty well. I think it's because I listened to this rather than Spotify and then just didn't have Spotify on when I needed to focus, and actually it worked really well. Who knew that actually listening to your audiobooks makes you finish them faster? What? Right, I'm going to start my day and I'll see you later. Hello everyone, it's Thursday, it's day 4. I have watered my plant, that is already done. Tick, check, huzzah. I don't have a huge amount of a reading update for you. I can tell you how much further I am through Ship of Magic. That's one thing I can do. I have 22 hours left on that one. which, what, that's like 3 hours less than yesterday, maybe? I can't quite remember. Anyway, I'm a bit further through that, and then I am 50% of the way through book 4 of this challenge, which is Mike Shackle's We Are the Dead. I'm not convinced. Content warning for those who need it, I'm about to discuss rape. So I don't hate the world, and I think the balance of characters is quite good. I like the element of there's a revolutionary aspect to it, but then they're also dealing with kind of outlying revolutionaries who aren't doing the things they want them to do, kind of thing. That's interesting. Just the treatment of women has just been not great so far, and I'm 50% of the way through, so I don't see how I can get much better. So we've had one character who her entire involvement in the book has been, I failed at something and then my brother turned up and asked me to do stuff for him, and then he died, so in his honour I'm doing this. Which, it's one of those things where it's like transparently not in his honour, but that's how it's being framed. And then another character who, so far, everything that happens to her is just, I got felt up, I got beat up by a man. And now, so then that first character also, around about the halfway point, probably about 45% of the way through, there's an on-page attempted rape scene that's just hugely uncomfortable and basically everything I don't like in male-written fantasy. It's just like, yeah, let's put this scene in, that'll be great, that'll be really, really difficult and emotionally driving, and yeah, and you're just like, no, that was unnecessary, I didn't need it. You could have just had him be horrible to her, we didn't need that description on page. And then the other character just gets felt up and beaten up every day at work, so... And it's the thing of, it's not suggesting that these men are in any way good, they're definitely the bad guys. It's just, they're the bad guys anyway. Why do we need this horrific treatment of women who then aren't getting to do as much exciting stuff? I'm sure they will in the second half of the book, and I really like the female characters, and I think that's part of why it's bothering me so much. Yeah, not convinced, not sold, and it's taking a really long time. Ugh. So, I'm going to finish that today and hopefully start book 5, and we will be well on our way. Hello, it is Friday, thank goodness it's the end of a week. I just have a quick reading update for you. I finished We Are the Dead by Mike Shackle, and if you're wondering, should I read this, should I not? I'd say leave it. It's not great. It's fine, and if you can get past the kind of like women-y bits that I've mentioned in previous vlog clips that I don't really want to go into again, and you've not read a whole bunch of other fantasy, you might enjoy it. I personally didn't think it was that creative a plot or a world, that interesting a plot or a world, you know, it was just sort of like fine was my overwhelming impression, which is unfortunate. It was just sort of adequate, and that's kind of a bummer. But we keep going because there are other books to read. I have 17 hours and 16 minutes left in the Mad Ship, which is going great. I'm really, really enjoying this. I like it a lot more than Ship of Magic. I don't know why, but it's just, it's much better, I think. And I haven't started it yet, but the next book I'm going to pick up is Brandon Sanderson's Steelheart, which is the first book in the Reckoners trilogy. I don't know much about this beyond the superhero element, so I'm really looking forward to picking this up. This is normally a bit of a vlog where I spout some nonsense about, well, maybe if I film today, I can film tomorrow and I'll get ahead. I'm not going to give you any of that this week. I'm going to try and edit as much of the vlog as I can today, and I have something very exciting that we're filming tomorrow that hopefully will be going up the day after you see this, and this should be good if I can get to the editing in time. I don't normally vlog this late on a Saturday, I don't know what's happening. It is Saturday afternoon. We filmed this morning, yes I say we. That video is coming up tomorrow, I'm very excited. I'm kind of in the middle of the edit right now. It's going to be good. You will have just witnessed the scenes of us socially distancing with my family dog, and my family as well, but the dog was what I filmed. She's very cute and lovely, and that was really, really nice. This morning I finished my reread of Record of a Spaceman for You by Becky Chambers. I did cry, I think probably at the same bits as I cried the first time around. This is just so good. So good, and I don't think I picked up on so much of it in the first read, so I would definitely say reread if you have the opportunity. It was just really lovely and really worthwhile, and people talk about Becky Chambers as being like hopeful sci-fi, and that's so true, but it's not naive either, and I really appreciated that, and it's just lovely and good, and I would read it again now. So I think I just have Closed in Common Orbit to reread, and then I've reread the whole trilogy, which would be good. Next random number generator picked book is Eldest by Christopher Paolini. I am already halfway through that, so I'm going to try and finish that today and maybe a bit of tomorrow, and then we'll see where we're at. But I am going to close up the vlog now because I need to edit it and get it uploaded for tomorrow. I will put whatever number my TBR has got to on screen so we can all appreciate how it's actually being read down. I love this challenge so much for that, although we have had a couple of rereads. It's fine. I hope you've enjoyed this week. I know it's been a bit of an odd one and it was an odd start and it continues to be odd. Let me know what you've read this week or what you plan to read next week. You can also subscribe. It makes me feel loved and appreciated, and I will see you in the next one. It doesn't have page numbers. Oh, it does. I will see you in... No, I've got to tell you to subscribe.